And welcome everyone. I'm Dennis Jarrett with the Next Generation Initiative, and we are excited to have Corey Wilson with us today. Corey is the Vice President of Community Engagement with the Pacers Sports and Entertainment, and that's just a part of his title. Corey, why don't you give us the full title and then tell us about your background and how you got to where you are today.
Thanks, Dennis. Glad to be with you and Next Gen. It's really exciting to get a chance to talk to you. We've known each other for a while here. My role as Vice President of Community Engagement and also Executive Director of the Foundation requires us to really think about what we're doing off the court and the responsibilities that the organization has to the community and to the state. So we'll kind of unpack a little bit of that as we talk here today, but to your specific question of how did I get here? I've been a runner all my life as a personal athlete, and so sports was always nearby to our family. And then after graduating from Indiana State with a sports management degree, went to Nike, and that obviously opened up many doors and really piqued my interest to continue on in the path of sports. And so after leaving Nike, I've had a variety of different employment opportunities here in Indianapolis, all of which fed to me being here and thinking about how we engage the community in an intentional way.
Oh, that's outstanding. And as you said, Corey and I have known each other for several years and have definitely had a chance to look at and have a peek into some part of your ascension here career-wise. And definitely you've done some great things and continue to do great things in the community. So let's dive into Corey talking about your role as the Vice President of Community Engagement, what that means, because again, most of the times when people think of the Pacers, we're thinking about what Malcolm Brogdon did on the court last night and what happened and what's going on with drafts and trades and all of that. But the Pacers Sports and Entertainment organization is much more than that. So talk about some of the initiatives and the focus that you are involved with there.
Yeah, it is. And, I would say that these types of initiatives from a community engagement perspective start at the top. And so you think about the Simon family, Herb Simon and Steve Simon, and their philanthropic nature is really what is ingrained in the organization. And so our core tenets are winning, serving, and entertaining. And so when you think about that service tenet of that statement, the Simon family continues to encourage us as an organization to pour into the communities in which we represent. And so that's not just here in Indianapolis, but across the state. To the tune of over 203 organizations have been impacted from the foundation. That's about 100,000 lives that we've impacted. From a financial perspective, we've actually shifted some of our focus to think about the philanthropic dollars that we invest go to communities that are focused on equity and injustice and social justice topics. And so all of those combined really are at the DNA of our organization. And that doesn't even, that actually leaves out the fact that we have a strong commitment civically. So our organization, we volunteer, we're out in the community, not just the community engagement department. And so all of those combined are really important tenets of Pacers Sports and Entertainment.
And talk about what are some of the specific things that you guys are doing in the community that, people may not be aware of, although they may have had some type of touch point with, but didn't know that you guys were probably supporting it, driving it, and those type of things.
Sure. So there's the things that you just mentioned that people see, the basketball camps, the appearances by Boomer or Freddie Fever, the appearances by our players, all of those are part of community engagement. But in addition to that, we are refocusing our efforts to look at 5 certain specific areas around social justice and equity. And so when we think about the areas where our community seems to be needing the most support that we can add the most value to as an organization, that's looking at education, mentorship, food deserts, Black and minority-owned businesses, as well as our relationships with law enforcement. And so we are behind the scenes in some cases doing things with each one of those topics to positively impact our community. My DNA is one of, this is not something that we do to gain recognition. And so some of those things we don't talk about, you would never know about, and that's intentional, quite candidly, because it's not for us to get the credit. It's more of to ensure that our community is thriving.
Oh, that's outstanding. And what I wanted to ask you, tell us what, and I want to talk specifically about some of those things that are going on, a little bit deeper dive, but what's a day in the life of Corey Wilson like? I mean, give us a little glimpse into what your life is like, your day life is like as the Vice President of Community Engagement.
I think you hear the term, no day is the same, and it is with me. I think the analogy I like to use is community engagement is somewhat of being like a duck, and I think that I have some of that in me as well. That if you see a duck going across the water, they look smooth and calm, but underneath that water, they are really moving those feet to keep things afloat. And so a lot of that is what community engagement is about, because you're constantly in, now that COVID is starting to lessen its hold on Indianapolis and in the state of Indiana and our country, we're able to get out a little bit more. So we're in event planning mode.
You really segued nicely to my next question. When I went out and looked on the website, you guys, especially in particular to the foundation, youth came out very strong. What you guys do with youth is very commendable. Talk about why you guys focus on youth.
Well, that's our future, period, point blank. And we want to do everything we can to ensure that our future and the vitality of Indianapolis and our state is strong. And we know that there are a variety of different needs that families and youth have. And we feel like that is one way that we can lend a hand to doing that. And so from the foundation perspective, supporting organizations that are helping our youth is one way that we do that. I talked about the basketball camps as a way that we do that. And during the holiday season, we give away 40 to 50,000 toys to kids, underserved kids across the state. So there's a variety of different ways that we do it. But we always are ones, like I said, starting from the top, from the Simon family, that youth are at the top of that pyramid.
And youth being a part of the bigger community. And let's talk about, and this could be a philosophical type of approach to this question, but talk about the importance of being present in the community from an organizational point of view.
I think it's vital. It'd be very hard for me to sit here in Bankers Life Fieldhouse and say, oh, well, we're great and you're going to get this and this is what we're going to do and you should be happy for it. Or just say, come to us and we have all these things for you. You have to be out. You have to be engaged. It's all part of relationship building with various community members, leaders, and individuals. I think there's no other way of doing a community engagement role but to be out in the community and touching those that you are impacting. And so a lot of times those conversations is what helps inform me in the direction strategically that we're going. And so I could not do this without being present.
And let's talk about, you're saying being present, and let's talk about presently social injustice, social inequality, big part of the conversation nationwide. As a matter of fact, the NBA as a whole came out with a very strong message, stance when this thing kind of start breaking. Talk about the Pacers' role to take it more than just that initial response to some of the things that you guys may be doing now when it comes to that part of, I guess, that 5 pillars that you put out there, and talk specifically about the social injustice.
Sure. Yeah. And you're exactly right. With with George Floyd's murder last year, it shook the globe to its core, and you saw that reflected with the NBA bubble and the WNBA wobble last year, but it's continued on. And I'm really proud of how Pacer Sports and Entertainment has engaged in this conversation from a social justice and equality perspective. We have looked at it from two different fronts. From an external perspective, we did support the CICF Racial Equity Fund with a financial donation, a significant financial donation. Our president and his wife also did a personal donation to that pledge. We have been engaged in conversations at a variety of different levels with other business leaders to encourage them, and it hasn't been that hard of a push to ensure that they are equally aligned with social justice and equity and inclusion for all. But what we've also done is look at ourselves internally as a company to say, what do we need to do better? Because it's hard for us to encourage others and push others when our house is not in order. And so what we have done is we formed a inclusive excellence action committee of 30 individuals from across the company, different departments, different levels, different areas, all focused on social justice and equity that we can directly impact as an organization internally. So we've been at this work for a year now and have had some excellent wins very early on. I talked about those 5 areas that we are focused on, from food insecurities, business development, education, mentorship, and relationships with law enforcement. That's our social justice agenda that we're looking to continue to invest in. But we've also looked at our hiring practices. The vast majority of our hires since the time that this committee has started have been of diverse candidates. So I'm really excited about that. And then we continue to push in areas of our spend as it relates to supplier diversity and other areas as well. So all of those combined is what makes the initiative and the conversation about social justice one that wasn't just a moment from last year, but a movement that we are supportive of.
Corey, thank you very much. I would be remiss if I did not finalize this with this question, as far as again, without a doubt, the most notable people in your organizations are the players. Mm-hmm. Those are the names, those are the household names, and those are the people that our community follow. Can you talk about the importance of them having a presence in the community?
Absolutely, absolutely. And our players are out as well, doing things for the community. They come alongside us for different activities. I talked about the junior hoops clinics we're doing. We'll have Pacers and Fever players out there. They equally are engaged and committed to wanting to see, as we've talked about, youth in particular succeed, but there are a variety of other ways that they are as well. And I think our players are the excellent entree into this conversation to be a life-size or bigger than life-size because of their height representation of what this organization stands for. It really, you see those kids' faces and eyes light up when the players walk into the room. And so it makes it that much easier to drive the various messages that we're bringing forward.
Outstanding. Corey, thank you for helping us see the impact that the Pacers organization is making beyond the basketball court and into the communities, not just here in Indianapolis, but all around the state of Indiana. And again, we're proud to have the Pacers organization, the Simon family, and the your entire organization as a part of the community, and stressing that word community. Thanks again, Corey.
Thank you, Dennis. Good being with you.